Welcome back to Open Line. We are here with 3 of the 5 candidates for District 2 of the Metro School Board. We're going to get right to your questions. This hour is going by very quickly. I believe that Wayne is next. Hi, Wayne. Thanks for your patience. What's your question?
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
My question is, how much money goes to schools to support athletic programs, and how come the athletic program cannot support the school the way it does the college and universities?
That's a good question.
And do you see the future, the way it's going, that one day we're going to have in-home schooling since we have so many computers that are available?
Okay, good question. Let's start with the athletic side of things. Who wants to take that first?
Sure, I'll jump in on that. Being someone who played a lot of high school sports, I really loved being involved with that, and I truly believe that high school sports made me into the man that I am today. Learning teamwork, working with people with different backgrounds, especially on the football field, working with fellow students who are African American, Hispanic, Caucasian, low socioeconomic status, high socioeconomic status. It really helped a lot just expand my world and building just a lot of character. I would love to be able to make sure that our sports and our arts are fully funded. Being able to see why aren't our programs able to fund themselves. I think when you look at some of the sports, and you see this at the college level as well, when you look at sports traditionally like football, men's basketball, they are able to generate more revenue, and that can be used to help those programs. But I remember, specifically having to do a lot of fundraisers when I was on the wrestling team. That was one where we were chronically trying to fight for funding to get new wrestling mats, new singlets, whatever we needed. And it's something where I think we really need to fund these programs. It really pours in a lot to our students, and they're able to grow from these. But I do think we could look at whether that's sponsorships or other programs to help offset those costs. But those are high areas of priority for me, so I want to make sure that we are funding them.
Edward?
My son was in soccer before he went to school for 2 years. And as far as funding, sometimes the parents had to give money to pay for the referees that came out. And there's just really, from what I've seen, there's just no interest in someone funding the sports on there. When you get to college, it's different. I think in 2014, UT Knoxville brought in over $34 million just for their football team alone. But as far as in-home schooling through the computer, Metro does have some classes, and there have been some classes that you can do from home for certain classes for certain credits. But a lot of people don't think that would ever become full-face, because there's something about having a teacher there to actually face-to-face to work with a student and to answer those type of questions. But it's a good question, with all the computers we got. But like I said, they're doing classes now, but they've not done anything like a full program.
TC?
I think the caller, Wayne, remembers a time like myself when I went to school, and Friday night meant a packed football stadium, and in the wintertime a packed basketball gym, and wrestling was packed, and they were able to generate some money. Unfortunately, as times have grown on and professional sports have gotten better at capturing more and more of the market, and we have plays now, we have the opera, we have ballet, and it just continues to compete for the dollar, and not as many people go to footballs. You'd be shocked, football games as such as they once did. You'd be shocked to find out how few actually attended a high school football game in the last several years. And I think that's a shame, because I think high school sports were great at building community. And I think community and relationships should always be the bedrock of what our schools are. So unfortunately, they're feeling the crunch that everybody else is feeling. To talk with Edwards was talking about learning on computers there is a program through Metro. It's called the Virtual School, and it's a very, very good program where our kids do interact with a computer. The key component there is that doesn't mean there's not a teacher available. Through the Virtual School, which is successful, kids have an opportunity to interact with a licensed teacher, licensed certified teacher who provides guidance. They also have the ability to come into school if they would like to come in for events. Say you want to come in for a meeting, or you want to come in for some other activity, you can have that opportunity. And so that's a nice balance that has worked out well. I think you cannot say, we try to get rid of our teachers all the time, even though we flower them with attention. We like to give them cupcakes and J. Crew cards. But the truth of the matter is we look for ways to replace them, and they cannot be replaced. Our teachers do an essential job that we must stop looking for ways to replace them and look for ways to reward them.
The last 2 years, enrollment at MNPS has actually gone down overall, and with the current budget, the issues that you have seen in the news, from the water testing to the recent sexual assault or sexual harassment allegations, what would you do specifically as a board member if you win this election to gain the confidence of families and really help grow MNPS specifically?
I think, well, first of all, when you look at the board only has certain, I guess, legally they can do. They can address policy. They can't. The only person they really supervise is the superintendent. They cannot get involved in any type of allegation. According to this, is from 4/22/03. They will not participate in any decision or actions involving the hiring, evaluation, dismissal, or dismissal of any employee other than the director. They're limited. What they do have the ability, as by law, to adjust policy, to change types of classes, to make adjustments in some of the school redistricting and so forth. So you have to look at the whole thing as a whole. For example, in Metro Nashville Public Schools, we actually gained in District 2 508 students between 2014 and 2018. We also lost some. And so the board has the ability of looking at these different areas and different schools. Of course, you know, they can decommission a school, they can recommission one. They did that with Julia Green. The population was too low to support the school. It was decommissioned. People moved in, they brought it back up. So you just have to look at the entire area, but they do have that authority for that.
I want to move on to the other men here. Jesse, what's your take on restoring public confidence, growing that?
Well, and I think we look at the issue with two ways, and I think Dr. Joseph had highlighted this. We got to look at why people are, not enrolling their students in schools. Being a millennial myself, I talk to a lot of people who I've graduated with from college or graduate school, and people who are looking at starting families. When you have a child who, for about 0 to 5, they're not going to schools. A lot of people that I talk to that are my peers that have young children, a lot of them are saying, gosh, do I send my child to Nashville with these issues? Do I send them there when there's issues going on in the schools with violence, when there's issues going on with the water? What do I do? And a lot of them are looking at the other options and moving out of the district when they have children. They're looking at the Williamson County schools. They're looking at the Rutherford County schools. And it's really unfortunate because a lot of them, when I sit down and talk to them as someone who is going to be an MNPS parent very soon, saying, have you been in the schools? Have you actually walked through? Have you actually interacted with teachers or anyone else? Because so much of it comes from news stories or hearing it secondhand. But when you sit down and you start to talk to some of the teachers or talk to other individuals, a lot of times they'll reconsider some of those ideas. But
I want to give TC a second here.
Sure.
So TC, go ahead, and then we're going to take a quick break.
Okay, real quick, talking once. First of all, what Edward was talking about, what a school board member can do. Now, remember, those boards, those guidelines are under the old policy governance. The school board right now is in the process of switching things around and moving to policy that reflects the Tennessee School Board Association. So there's going to be a little bit more latitude in what a school board member can do. And I think one of the first things that we have to do is they have to make things more transparent. We have to make people believe that we are putting the same level of importance in having those frank conversations about the schools. There's a lot of people who have criticized Jill, not a lot, a few people have criticized Jill Spearing, board members Jill Spearing and Amy Frobe, because they've been asking hard questions. What they fail to miss is it's not the questions that are causing the problem, it's the answers. Okay, so if we get the answers right, then people are reassured. It's just like your spouse. One time I was asked, do you argue in front of the kids? And I said, my wife and I actually do, because we want to demonstrate to them that people who love each other can disagree and still move forward and still act in the best interest of our family. And we have to love our school district like we love our families and love our spouses. Your wife doesn't tell you, or your husband doesn't tell you, you're wonderful, everything you do is great, you're fantastic. They hold us accountable and they ask the hard questions, and that's what we need to do with our school.
Very good. On that note, we have to take a quick break. We're coming right back.